Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise, it's the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to Earthly Mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Family, we're going to get into a quick video real quick and be on the lookout tomorrow for a live for us to come together, talk about some things. We'll be bringing out some more information. The Most High is bringing all this information together in order for us to get a much better understanding of our history and the things that the church has done to separate us from our power. And now that we are here in these last days of their reign, the Most High is making a pathway for us to come back to Him. But before we get into that topic right now, we're going to get into something else. You know, all you other nations, everyone seems to have so much pride in your identity. You have so much pride in the language that you speak, and you think that, that you have a connection with your ancestors. What's going to happen when you find out that all of those things that you've been told is nothing but a lie? We're going to take a look at the Native Americans, because really that's like a template for what has been done all over the world. All these designations and names that have been given to you by the Gentiles, by Esau when he was in power here, has been nothing but a bunch of lies. There's no way that he's going to tell you the truth about anything, because the truth is not in him. So you Native Americans, a lot of them have a lot of pride, in being Native and saying things like they're the first ones, they're the original people that were here. And because, like I said, if you're part of Psalms 83, they will all back each other up. And then, you sometimes think that you're the crazy one, because, like, damn, everyone believes that these people are the natives. So, I mean, am I wrong? Am I crazy for thinking that we're the Aborigines, that we're the original people? If 99% of the people here in this world think that these are the real Native Americans, how is it that I'm going to be correct if I'm maybe of a 1%, 2% of population that believes otherwise? Well, when you have a conglomerate of all other nations that are going against you, that would make sense. And before, when we weren't awakened, it was easy for them to put us to sleep and just have us dismiss many things. But now, the Most High is awakening His people, and the Most High deals with smaller numbers. Now, this is an opportunity for many of you to really do some self-examination. Many people have, a lot of pride in, well, I'm Mexican, I'm Colombian, I'm Peruvian, I'm El Salvadorian. But really, are you? Is that what you are? I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Dominican. All of those are nothing but bywords that were given to you by your Spanish conquerors. They have nothing to do with who you really are. When the Most High cracks those skies open and starts separating the sheep from the goats, he's going to say, hey, my Puerto Rican people, come over here. My Mexican people, come over here. My Irish people, come over here. My British people, come over here. My Americans, come over here. My African Americans, go over there. My Africans, go. Those are all nothing but titles that your conquerors have given you. And see, it's time to come out of that. It's time to come out of that mindset and that thinking and having pride in the bywords that your conquerors have given you. I know that a lot of people really love it when you speak their language. A lot of Latinos are really like that. Like if you try to speak Spanish, they'll open you, they'll have open arms. They're very loving people, most of them. And if you try to, speak some Spanish to them, they'll think that you're, coming to their culture. But look, people, that's not your culture. Speaking Spanish is not your culture. Spanish is a white man's language. You just think that it's your language because that's what you've been told. English is not our language. English is another European language. And that's what's predominantly spoken here in the Americas. Now we'll hear things like, well, a lot of natives say, well, I speak Nahuatl, whatever else. I don't know how much of that is our language or not, but that's not for me to say here or there, whatever else, as far as what's as far as the languages are concerned, what's what. But what I am here to say is, a lot of you people who profess to be native, you need to really do some soul searching and take a look at your history. Because see, like when I go to powwows and things like that, like they're very welcoming, especially like if you're a light-skinned person, so-called white person, if they say that they're native, they're quick to embrace them. When I went to the last powwow, I kind of got thrown back a little bit because, the MC who was talking was like, he started talking about some pastor from a certain church. And he's like, well, this pastor, has really done a great thing, done like a lot of great things for our people. And he's come and he's done like, he's done services for our people. And when people have died, he's done funeral services. I'm like, hold on. I said, you're sitting here giving like praise to a pastor of a church? I said, I thought you guys had nothing to do with the churches. I thought you guys had nothing to do with the churches. You know what I mean? I thought you guys were all spiritual, people, but everything else. But it's like, but you guys will accept the Europeans. You will accept their religion. You want to act like you're all inclusive. This church, this pastor came over and he's done this for us and that for us, and he's really been a blessing to our people. I was like, hold on, man. I said, last time I checked, these people in these religions were the ones that destroyed your people. These pastors and priests were the ones that came in and stole your land. They're the ones that took your children from you and made them go to these boarding schools. These pastors and priests were the ones that were responsible for killing your children and burying them at these schools and hiding information. They stole your children from you, and they were like, keep the Indian, but they were going to get the Indian out of you. They want the body strong, but they didn't want you to have any connection with your heritage. So these people have done these things to you, but you're like over here praising a pastor. So again, that just showed me Psalms 83. Psalms 83 to the T. We're going to accept everybody. We're going to accept everyone else, but we're not going to accept the true Israelites. But see, you're going to see some other information that's going to come out. It's going to be, like I said, great information. Understand that everything that they've told you about who they were attacking, who they were trying to force, to follow the ways of the church. It's always been our people. There's only two churches. The Church of Satan and the Most High. That is it. So if the churches are talking about how they're doing these certain things to pagans, those pagans were you. But that's for another video. Now, we're going to take a quick look here at this book. I've used it before, but I've been doing a lot of studying, and Most High is just putting all this information together. So I wanted to make sure I brought this one out. This will be a quick one to it's a refresher for some of you. For a lot of the new people, they probably never even seen this information before. But as I'm telling you right now, the true Aborigines do not look exactly like the ones that they're showing you every single day on TV. If the Most High, like in Jeremiah 16:19 says that all the Gentiles are going to come to him and say that our fathers have inherited lies, trust me, it's also who is who right now. Who is also a lie. Whose land belongs to this people and that people that they've been telling you, that's all a lie. Who has authority to canonize books and say what's good and what's bad, that's also a lie. Now look, this is a book right here, Atlantis, the Antediluvian world. Now see, Most people are not going to go into this kind of book to get biblical information. They're not going to get, they're not going to go into books like this to get biblical information, and get confirmation of the Bible. But trust me, you're going to get some right now. You're going to get confirmation of the lies that have been told to us. Now, see, this book right here, this is a first edition. Now, when you get the later editions, all the pictures that are in this edition are taken out. There's a reason, because it does not go with their narrative. Their narrative has always been, you Negroes you have no history. Your history started with slavery. Before that, there's no information about where you came from. You've been nothing but a slave. And that these Native Americans that are here have always been here. They came over on the land bridge, and they've always been here, even though that's a theory. That's why it's called the land bridge theory again. Your guess. I could care less about your guesses, because your guesses, have been nothing but a bunch of mess. That flew and worked just fine before. It doesn't work anymore. So this book right here, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, by Ignatius Donnelly, okay? And like I said, this is a first edition. They're always saying, oh, Atlantis isn't true. Atlantis is make-believe. Well, if they're saying it's make-believe, trust me, 100% I'm sure it's true. The information you've heard about Atlantis, if they're saying it's fake and false, it's probably true. Okay? Now, you guys have seen this before. And this picture and this information right here was taken out of the later editions. It says, without Atlantis, how can we explain the fact that the early Egyptians were depicted by themselves as red men on their own monuments? And on the other hand, how can we account for the representations of Negroes on the monuments of Central America? Now, see, these statues have been removed, mutilated, hidden, because they don't want you to realize that Negroes were already here on these lands before the Spaniards arrived. And you're going to get a lot of confirmation right now. Desiree Charnay, now engaged in exploring those monuments, has published in the North American Review for December 1880 photographs of a number of idols exhumed at San Juan de Teotihuacan, from which I select the following strikingly Negroid faces. So like I said, what you're going to see is that there's a mix of people that were here in the lands. Yes, some of them, I'm sure, look like the Native Americans you see today. But that was not all the people that were here. But if you look in the news or you look at any depiction of Native Americans, they show the same faces over and over again. They might show them with lighter skin, brown skin, but they have the same facial structure. But this is letting you know that, A, there were Negroid people with Negroid faces, Negroid attributes. They had statues of themselves. So that's what they really looked like, not what they just depict on television. And see, when I go to like powwows and stuff, like, you don't get anyone ever saying, hey, you know what, you're one of us. Hey, you're Native. Hey, you're Aborigine. We know it now, but we didn't get any of this information from them. See, that was their lot. That was a part of their voluptuousness that Esau gave them. And a lot of you people, you're getting a lot of voluptuousness too. A lot of Mexicans believe that Mexico is their land. How do you know that? Mexico was only, became a country in the 1800s, 1880s, late 1800s. What was it before? Who was there before? Who does the land really belong to? So you think you're Native just because that's what the Europeans have told you. Not saying that you're not. We don't know. That's the whole thing. No one knows. No one knows exactly where they came from. And who's the one that's gone out of his way to hide everything? The Spaniards, the English, the Europeans, they've hidden everything. But even their people have been lied to. It's a lot of the people who are in the higher up and hierarchy that have done these things. So like I said, it's going to be a shock to absolutely everyone. And that's why everyone It doesn't matter what color you are, needs to do some soul searching and needs to do some research. The Most High is calling you and open up your eyes to this truth. Now it's your responsibility to chase after the Most High and, spend time looking for him. But check this part out right here. Let me look at this. From which I select the following strikingly Negroid faces. Why take this out of the later editions? There are a lot of pictures in this book, a lot of information, and it's all been taken out. Like when you read a book, there's pictures all throughout this book, but then in the later editions, they in the middle they give you like a different kind of paper, and they just put all the pictures in the middle, and they have nothing to do with this stuff. They just took all these pictures out altogether. So if you don't get a first edition, you ain't getting this information, because they want everybody to be content with the lies that they've been told. Now it says, Dr. Leplongian says, besides the sculptures of long bearded men seen by the explorer at Chichen Itza, there were tall figures of people with small heads, thick lips, and curly short hair, or wool, regarded as Negroes. Okay, this is now Chichen Itza. See what I'm saying? So just because they go and put these different other Native Americans and they say, oh, these are the people. Okay, in the 1880s, people already knew that there were, statues of so-called Negroes, and they've hidden all this information. So see, when Most High comes to reestablish everything, he's not reestablishing everything based on the people that the Europeans or the Edomites, the people in high positions, have told you. He's going back to how it was originally. He's going to go back to who these lands were given to originally. So which statues represent the original people? That's who's getting these lands back. Now you're going to see in a minute that just like we talked about before, scientifically, so-called Negroes, so-called black people can make all shades of colors, all different types of people. So it would make sense then if we were here and we were already in these lands, then the people that were on these lands are going to be different. They're going to have different skin color, everything else. But see, they want to depict the natives as only one way. That's what they've been doing. But see, those times are done. I'm going to show you some more information about how, these natives look like all different types of people. That's why I said you can't look at somebody and say, oh, you're for sure an Edomite. You're for sure an Israelite. You're for sure this. You're for sure a Japhite. You're sure, you can't do that, because so-called black people have dominant genes and they can make any colored people. That's basic understanding, basic science. Okay? So if you've got a whole range of people here in the Americas, then there's no way that the people that are here were all white, because there wouldn't be any different people, because so-called white people cannot make black people. It doesn't work. It's not scientifically impossible. Okay? So, let's continue. Besides the sculptures of long bearded men seen by the explorer at Chichen Itza, there were tall figures of people with small heads, thick lips, and curly short hair or wool, regarded as Negroes. We always see them as standard or parasol bearers, but never engaged in actual warfare. The following cut is from the court of the Palace of Palenque, figured by Stevens. The face is strongly Ethiopian. Excuse me. The figure below represents a gigantic granite head found near the volcano of Tuxtla, okay, in the Mexican state of Veracruz at Caxapa. The features are unmistakably Negroid. And those big heads, actually, the people on the back, they have braids, okay? As the Negroes have never been a seagoing race, now they're trying to explain how you got these, Negroes were never, a seagoing race, which is a lie. We were the first ones that were going all over the place on the oceans. But again, that's what they have to do. They have to come up with their own explanation as to why these statues are here and they have Negroid face. I'm sure going to try to say that someone brought them over on slave ships way back then, because that's what they're going to do. Doesn't matter, because they're trying to explain away facts. And I don't care less about their explanation. But again, as the Negroes have never been a seagoing race, the presence of these faces among the antiquities of Central America proves one of two things: either the existence of a land connection between America, because we had to have walked here. There's no way we could have gotten on a boat and navigated here, right? Yeah, okay. Just because you guys say so, right? Either the existence of a land connection between America and Africa, because all black people just came from Africa. You haven't been anywhere else, black people. You've only been in Africa, and that's it. You see what I'm saying? None of this stuff works. And Africa via Atlantis, as revealed by the deep sea soundings of the Challenger, or commercial relations between America and Africa. Okay, through the ships of the Atlanteans, or some other civilized race, whereby the Negroes were brought to America as slaves at a very remote epoch. That's what I said. Someone else had to have brought us here because we're just too stupid to actually navigate our way over here. Like I said, that's all part of the lie that they've been pushing, but that's okay. You guys can keep pushing it. It doesn't matter. Okay? So that's the only way that they can try to explain things. Is someone else brought us here as slaves, because that's all that we are. Is nothing but slaves. Okay? Now, let's check out some more stuff here. Page 184. Check this out. Let's see. Researches into the physical history of mankind right here. It will be easy to show that the American races show nearly as great a variety in this respect as the nations of the old continent. There are among them white races with a florid complexion, and tribes black or of a very dark hue, that their stature, figure, and countenance are almost equally diversified. See, they're talking about now in the Americas that being a diversity, but you don't see any kind of diversity at the powwows. You don't see any diversity on television. You don't see any diversity in these casinos that they've given to these people. You see what I'm saying? They're the ones, the Europeans are the ones that have, oh no, you're Native American. Oh no, you're African American. That's all that you are. You're from Africa. But this is telling you right here that the so-called natives, as you want to call them, there's all different makeups. Okay? The Menominee, sometimes called the White Indians, formerly occupied the region bordering on Lake Michigan or around Green Bay. The whiteness of these Indians, which is compared to that of white mulattoes. Okay, I don't know how you get a white mulatto. Someone who's a mulatto is mixed, right? So I don't know how you get a white mulatto, but okay. Like they're trying so hard, bless their heart. They're trying so hard to act like we weren't here. Why couldn't it be a black mulatto? Why does it got to be a white mulatto? They're mixed. They're half and half. So they probably have light skin, medium brown skin. Okay. But again, white mulattoes early attracted the attention of the Jesuit missionaries, and has often been commented on by travelers. While it is true that hybridly has done much to lighten the color of many of the tribes, so if you have to lighten the color, that means they originally were dark then, right? Right? They had to have been dark then originally if you're talking about lightening them. Okay, still the peculiarity of the complexion of this people has been marked since the first time a European encountered them. Almost every shade from the ash color of the Menominees through the cinnamon red, copper, and bronze tints may be found among the tribes, formerly occupying the territory east of the Mississippi, until we reach the dark-skinned cause of Kansas. Okay, so here we go. Who are nearly as black as the Negro. So we're comparing them to Negroes because that's what they look like. They were the Negroes. Just like the ones down here in Palenque. Statues, Negroes. You go down to Chichen Itza, statues, Negroes. You go to Veracruz, which is like the actual like mother of all the civilizations down there. Oh, big old heads of so-called Negroes. Right? All right. So again, who are nearly as black as the Negro. The variety of complexion is as great in South America as among the tribes of the northern part of the continent. So you got black tribes all over the place. But you go to powwows, you go to different events, you ain't got no black people represented at all. Because it doesn't go with their narrative. Their narrative is you blacks only came from Africa and that's it. And footnote here of U.S. explorations for the railroad route of the Pacific Ocean, we are told many of the Indians of Zuni, New Mexico, are white. They have a fair skin, blue eyes, chestnut or auburn hair, and are quite good looking. They claim to be full-blooded Zunians and have no tradition of intermarriage with any foreign race, just like the Israelites. Hey, you ain't marrying that Gentile. You're only going to marry people from your own group, from the Hebrews. That's how it's always been. And that's again what Paul was teaching when he went into the land of Thekla. Hey, if you're married to these Gentiles, leave them and come back home and come back to doing the things that your forefathers have taught you. Okay? The circumstance creates no surprise among this people, for from time immemorial, a similar class of people has existed among the tribe. Okay? We're almost done here. Winchell says, the ancient Indians of California in the latitude of 42 degrees were as black as the Negroes of Guinea. So see there, just got to compare to some other black people somewhere else. Okay? They were already here. While in Mexico were tribes of an olive or reddish complexion. Olives are either green or black. I'm sure they weren't green, so they were black. And of course, green and blue is like the picture of the gods, right? So we know those are colors of the gods. So when they're talking about green, they're still referring to a godly people that actually has a relationship with the Most High. That's where you get that green and blue from in the first place. Okay? So it's a spiritual thing that they're talking about. It's going to go over most people's heads, okay? Tribes of an olive or reddish complexion, relatively light. Yeah, we got light skins. We got those too. We make those too. We make dark, we make light, we make white, we make everything. Okay? Among the black races of tropical regions, we find generally some light-colored tribes interspersed. These sometimes have light hair and blue eyes. Yeah, we can make those too. This is the case with the Tuareg of the Sahara, the Afghans of India, and the Aborigines of the banks of the Orinoco, and the Amazon. Yep, that's us. William Penn said of the Indians of Pennsylvania in his letter of August 1683, the natives are generally tall, straight, well built, and of singular proportion. They tread strong and clever, and mostly walk with a lofty chin, because they're proud people. Their eye is little and black, not unlike a straight-looked Jew. So again, now we're being compared to, first it was they were compared to Negroes, now they're being compared to Jews, because that's what they look like. The people that were here, because that's what they were. They're the Israelites. I have seen among them as commonly European-like faces of both sexes and on your side of the sea. And truly an Italian complexion hath not much more of the white, and the noses of several of them have as much of the Roman. For their original, I am ready to believe them to be of the Jewish race. I mean of the stock of the 10 tribes, and that for the following reasons. First, in the next place, I find them to be of the light countenance, and their children of so lively a resemblance that a man would think himself in Duke's Place or Berry Street in London. And again, we're going to get into London, and because our people were already over there too. This is 1683, and we're talking about Israelites in London and everything else, because that's where they were too. When he seeth them, but this is not all. They agree in rites. They reckon by moons. They offer their first fruits. They have a kind of feast of tabernacles. They are said to lay their altars upon 12 stones. Okay, their mournings a year, customs of women, with many other things that do not now occur, because they were able to stay over here and they were separated, so they were able to go ahead and continue with, their traditions. Upon this question of complexion, Catlin and his Indians of North America gives us some curious information. We have already seen that the Mandans preserved an image of the Ark and possessed legends of a clearly Atlantean character. Okay? So we'll stop it right there on that, okay? Now, they told you what they look like. They were comparing them to Negroes. They're talking about the light skin. They're talking about the red complexion. And now they're talking about how they look like Jews. They look like Israelites. So like I said, don't think that just because you're Mexican and you have this pride of, oh, Mexico's my land and I speak Spanish, and you've been lied to also. Yeah, some of you can be. Some of you also are of European descent. We're all mixed. And hopefully, like I said, the Most High is working with you and giving you an opportunity to start to look deeper into this truth and find out what's really going on beneath the surface. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.